All right. Nobody panic.
Are you sure?
Well, now I'm panicking a little bit. Now
Okay, I won't panic. Sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Okay, this is just not to interrupt this episode for this week, guys, but somewhere near the middle, we had a little bit of a technical difficulties. So this recording, we had to stop and then we restarted it. So it kind of makes more sense, I think, when you're watching it on YouTube. But for those of you who are watching on audio, this is basically a disclaimer for you guys. Nothing's wrong with your car. Nothing's wrong with the recording. You know, just technical difficulties and such.
That's true.
Yeah.
We should. You mean car as a metaphor, right? We're not speaking to the people who are driving to work right now.
No, I'm talking to like Lightning McQueen.
Oh yeah, Lightning, you're fine.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Although I think listening to this show while racing is maybe irresponsible.
Or you're really good at what you do.
Ciao.
Enjoy the episode.
Yeah, enjoy the episode.
Welcome to a series of podcasts discussing series of films.
I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
In a world inundated with prequels, sequels, spin-offs, and reboots, we ask the question,
Do we need one more? I think we do.
I think we don't. Could you imagine if this episode opened and it's us, and then we like kill a robot, and then instantly the lighting changes and we're in a fucking council, just on really bad green screen, just like sitting and like standing completely straight ahead.
Oh, yeah. This podcast will be done in the style of Kryptonian naan bread. So I will be.
Good.
There's just not his real name, but if you listened to the last episode, that joke killed.
Yep.
I will. I'm not conceited at all.
No. No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, I didn't actually finish that bit, but we will be grunting for the rest of this episode.
That's right, and trying to get our laser vision.
Get our laser vision to work out, but maybe we just need glasses.
Yep, in a bit that's definitely funny every time it happens.
Every time.
Welcome to We Need One More.
Welcome to the show, guys. We're talking Superman II, Captain.
Hell yes. Dude, Pirate Superman.
It
does exist.
Actually. Is that real?
There's a in Crisis, one of the multiverses.
Okay.
I don't know if it's in Crisis. But
okay, I was going to say, is that like a pre-Crisis thing, or is that because of a Crisis
There's
thing?
an alternate universe where they're all pirates.
Yeah.
And that's objectively, like, why is that not a movie? I want to see that.
Yeah. Is it?
Justice League of the Caribbean.
So don't hate me for this, like, take, but, like, I feel like Michael Bay should do that one.
No, I'm okay with that. Ambulance is good.
If
it's
good.
Ambulance, Michael Bay.
We're pro Ambulance, yeah.
I am pro Ambulance, yeah.
I'm
pro The Rock.
The Rock is amazing. Transformers 1 is still really... I really like that first one.
I haven't watched it in a long time. Yeah. I haven't watched it since 2010.
Yeah.
So like I can't speak to that for myself.
I mean, it
now,
has the Michael Bay isms, you know.
But he's got. I mean, listen,
but it's still like fun and cool.
For the right material, he is effective.
Yes.
Remember when he was almost going to do Lobo? Bad idea.
Yeah, that's topical. That's real topical.
That's true.
Let's get into our discussion of people and directors and who was going to direct and who wasn't with this one.
Wait, was not Richard Lester the director of Superman 2?
No.
Oh my gosh. Do we want to get into it?
We should get
it right out the bat.
So if you were listening to episode last week, we talked about it a tiny bit, but the conceit for Superman 1 and 2 was that it was going to be shot back to back, which was the thing. The producers, the Salkins, which is actually, we didn't really talk a lot about the Salkins and who they were, but they were French producers, and it was like a father-son team. It's like third generation movie producers, like the dad Salkin, his dad was also a movie producer.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so it's like a 3-tier generation family business. They negotiated the rights to do the Superman movie. And it's funny doing my deep dive into the Donner cut and the theatrical cut and some of that stuff like that. People referred to Warner Brothers as being like always meddling, but the truth was like with this one was not actually a lot of Warner Brothers. It was the Salkins and their company, which I forgot the name of, but like they were like, it's the ones. It's a whole side thing, but didn't stop history from repeating itself. But
that's true.
That's for a later episode, I guess.
That's right.
But yeah, their big claim to fame at the time though was, I want to talk about this last week, but I we didn't get to it. They did the Three Musketeers and the Four Musketeers is like their sequel back to back.
I did not know that
Yes,
exists.
which was directed by Richard Lester. So
Fuck.
yeah, so their pitch was to save money. We're going to shoot this back to back, but Donner, being like not a perfectionist but trying to do a good job,
Sure.
went way over budget, clashed with the creative vision and stuff, which their creative vision I think was not spending as much money as possible.
Sure. It seems like it's making it worse. Question mark.
Yes,
No.
our creative idea is to be cheap. I think
Yeah.
was their whole
Very
angle
creative. Very
on,
creative.
Yeah, incredibly creative thing to do.
Mhm.
But yeah, so Superman 1 does what it does. We talked about how we didn't really talk numbers, but it was the second highest grossing movie of the year, just behind Grease, which
Awesome.
was out like all year, and then Superman swings in at the end of December,
Flies in, you could say.
like a bird, or
Yeah.
like what?
Throws
like
a
plane?
cellophane S at Grease, just right in its fucking face.
Catches it.
Yeah.
John Travolta's like,
He's like, wait a second. What are you trying to do?
It was like some kind of grease lightning.
Looks like.
He throws a cellophane ace. It looks like one.
Sorry,
It's
you were
actually
saying.
funny we bring it up, but John Travolta was also in the running for Superman. Like
Yeah, of
literally
course he
any
was.
guy who was like,
It was like some guy's
vaguely
dentist
good.
too, right?
Yeah,
One of the
like
Salkin's
one of
dentists.
the Salkin's wife went to like a dentist appointment and was like, "Oh my god, it's Superman!" And then that guy comes in and is just like, "Oh, come here, Lex.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did anyone have a molar
You're going to
that they
jail.
need to get fixed?
your molars are looking bad."
That'd be funny if he was just like, you have cavities. He just like doesn't know how to do it.
Laser vision.
But I mean, this
But
movie.
yeah, the production history for this is actually really interesting.
Well, it's also crazy just to see how, like, obviously, like you said, their goal was to be cheap and not
Yes.
good or consistent.
This SAG had to come up with a there's a thing called the Salkin clause because of them and the Three Musketeer movies. Apparently, it was a clause that literally states you cannot have an actor, like, one contract does not extend into a sequel. Like, you need to have multiple
yeah.
contracts, or it needs to be like explicitly stated. Could not find the full story on that, but
What a way
there are SAG clauses
to have your legacy of legal clauses enacted because of your behavior.
Yeah, like I'm the guy. I'm the reason they have the Jackie Coogan law. That's not a good thing.
Yeah,
That's
it's like,
not a good thing.
You shouldn't be talking about that.
You should pretend you're not that guy.
Yeah, maybe distance yourself from those events.
Yeah.
But I do think it is interesting that this is not that. I mean, Justice League. That it's like
Yes.
that the parallels between this of like a director with one specific vision and then the studio basically picking a guy to like do the funny thing. Like I know,
To
like
just make it a comedy.
yeah,
Like
which ultimately makes the movie worse. I think
I agree.
we'll get into it, and so yeah, we'll be clear. We're discussing the theatrical released cut of Superman 2.
Yes.
We're
And
not really going into the Donner cut. We might reference it.
We'll
and
talk about
some
it, but I think
differences.
more in the play of like the sequel aspect of everything. And
If people
I guess-
want a special episode of us
Yeah.
going over the Donner cut, I don't remember. I've seen it. I don't know if you've seen it.
I did. Because
Okay.
did we both see it with our friend of the pod, John Darby?
Did we? Oh, we did.
Because
he
I
showed
know
it.
he did a movie night.
Yes, you're right.
Our friend John Darby, who I was actually just texting today.
Oh,
It's been a
good.
minute since I've heard from the guy, but
Heck yeah.
we love John.
Yeah,
But
true.
yeah, he did a movie night and he showed the Donner cut, and,
Okay,
and
yeah.
that was the first time I had seen any Superman 2.
Yeah.
I up until that point I had only ever seen the first one. Although it turns out that was an extended cut because I had the VHS that they released at the time, which came with some bonus stuff that wasn't in the original theatrical cut.
Sure.
So I watched a director's cut essentially already
that's
growing
kinda
up,
cool.
but which only just makes this whole conversation like more interesting and maybe, dare I say, confusing. But because it's like I feel like so many people have different ideas of what happened in the sequel because of this, and
Sure.
like apparently with this one, like because like we're discussing, Donner was replaced with Richard Lester, who had to reshoot 80% of the movie,
He shot, yeah, because
or
it's
something like 80%. Like
there's I think because the rule is you have to have like at least 51% of the movie shot by you in order to have sole directing credit.
Yes,
I think
the Salkins really pushed Lester to go and do that percentage of reshoots.
I think they said what I've heard is 30% of the stuff in this movie is Donner.
Yeah.
So 70% is Lester.
Yeah.
To which I would say the best, as someone, having seen the Donner cut,
Yeah.
the best stuff is from the Donner cut.
Basically.
Or their versions of stuff from the Donner cut
what they're
that's been
gonna
lightly
go for,
changed.
because the Donner cut's a little rough, but it is like it's hard, like it's kind of an irrelevant criticism because it's a man being allowed to redo it after 26 years, I want to say.
Yeah, it was like 2004 or something.
Yeah, 2004 he came in. And basically, they prepped the Donner cut in time for Superman Returns, I think is what happened.
I think you're right.
It was like part of the hype train for that. So,
but I guess maybe getting into the movie, I think I referenced it when we started the episode. When the movie starts, I'm already like, oh, it's different.
It's very different.
I'm like, whoa, this is not gonna be as good of an experience.
You don't like 5-minute recaps?
I'm okay with 5-minute recaps. 10-minute recaps, however, are
was it 10 minutes?
It's 10 minutes. I have
generous.
a clock. I
was
literally
being real generous.
So I have 2 notes. I have more than 2 notes, but I have 2 notes specifically with this beat.
Matt, I have a page. Are you watching these movies?
I have, well, the first one is very funny, obvious green screen. The second note is dum 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 dum.
The second note is Jeopardy theme asterisk.
Yeah, exactly. No, I have honestly kind of like the opening credits as a recap, a la Spider-Man 2.
Yes, they should have had someone draw it or paint it, maybe.
Well, but then my next note is, okay, the recap is feeling grating. And then I have a third note, movie doesn't start until minute 10.
Wow.
Yeah, new stuff doesn't happen. I guess there's a little bit of new stuff out in the beginning with that.
Yeah, but it's like the first shot is something new, and then it's like 10 minutes of just Superman 1.
Yes, of us also. It's Superman 1 making sure that we're cutting around Marlon Brando,
who is
because
not
of paid
back.
disputes.
Yes, because he negotiated the highest salary for the first one, which basically included a package deal for the second movie, but when they decided we're gonna stop filming 2 and finish 1 and stuff, part of his deal included the royalties, which were never paid.
Yeah,
allegedly. I don't know. Well, I guess they ruled it in Brando's favor ultimately, and that's basically why he's not in the movie. So a lot of the where's Jor-El is just purely because Brando was like, fuck you.
sheer money.
Sheer money.
Which he is in the Donner cut. He is in
the Donner cut, and it's because it's everything he shot before that dispute happened.
Yeah.
So he did not come back to shoot anything else.
It is funny.
Same with Gene Hackman also. He did not shoot anything new. Anything new is a body double and
a body double and an ADR that sounds nothing like it.
No.
Good. And listen, no disrespect to the guy who has to do that job. Do your thing. But literally instantly I was like, that's not Gene Hackman.
No.
It's pretty instantly.
Gene Hackman and the Craftsman auto hammer.
It was literally, he was like, I don't it was it's such a strained, it's very clearly
Miss Tessmacher, bring me my robot.
It's just not him. I don't know. It feels, the movie, even to the opening credits, the text, it almost feels like an impression of the first movie.
It does.
I'm like, oh, it feels like we're just 15 degrees off of where we were.
Yeah.
And it's really gonna spill out in some ways. I should know as we go. I don't hate this movie.
I don't either.
I don't think it's terrible.
The movie weirdly impressed me by the end. Yes, but only because based on everything I knew and about the Donner cut and everything, I really thought I really had a low opinion.
Low expectation.
Yeah, my expectation was just very low. So when I say impressed, I don't mean by much, but I was surprised that I actually enjoyed most of it. I guess what I mean.
It's also the thing where it's the Lester stuff. It's not even that there's jokes that it's not even I don't think there are funny jokes, because I do think there are some funny gags. But it's just kind of not. It just doesn't. It's out of place. It doesn't
really mesh with the DNA of the first movie.
But so you have a quote.
Yes.
From Lester.
Yes. He said he didn't want to do the whole David Lean thing.
Okay.
Which is really crazy because For those of you who don't know, that is the director of Lawrence of Arabia and Bridge on the River Kwai, Dr. Zhivago, some really iconic, beautifully shot like movies. Like I think he basically, next to Cecil B. DeMille, is like the guy who helped build the concept of the epic.
Sure.
Like that's like his thing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also, I saw another quote from him that it was like, he was talking about Donner, and he was like, Donner was looking to do like myth, and he was like, I do more like gags and quirks.
Yeah, well, he clearly just wanted to make a comedy.
Which, listen,
or like maybe that's just like his wheelhouse. Like,
I think
I'm not sure.
that's his wheelhouse, and it's that thing of like, listen, if a studio's hiring you, I'm not gonna be like Richard Lester fucking ruined super, you know what I mean? But like, I do think that it's like, you know, it just doesn't fit.
No.
It just doesn't really mesh. And I think a lot of the times, too, he's putting gags in places, and we'll continue to get into this, where it kind of ruins, I think, the tension.
Kind of the weight of whatever's going on in a bad way.
100%.
Because it's like it literally goes like there's like moments that feel like what's ever left of what Donner had intended. And then it's like the Pink Panther starts happening in the middle of the movie or something, you know?
I mean, look, we'll kind of get into it. We kind of open with this whole, almost like I have in my notes, like Superman serial kind of thing. We're kind of doing like a little like a side mission to start off, a bond, kind of in a Bond way, of these terrorists in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And there even is this weird joke where he's like, where Perry White is explaining the situation to Clark, and Clark goes, well, that's terrifying. And he goes, that's why they're called terrorists, Kent. And I was like, what? I don't know why we're doing bits like in terms of that. And I also think this whole sequence feels very void of tension.
Incredibly.
Like, there's a hydrogen bomb in the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, that's
an
insane sentence. One,
it's fucking bonkers.
That would if that was actually happening, the news that you could not know about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in here, it's just like la da da. Oh yeah, like there's some guys in the Eiffel Tower, and one of them's Vernon Dursley.
Yeah. Well, hey, shout out Vernon Dursley. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
But he no, it really is like people are kind of just like walking around.
Yeah.
Like even like when he was like when Perry White is talking, and he's like, oh yeah, there's a hydrogen bomb, and he's like, oh, and he's like, hey, has anybody seen Lois? And he's like, Lois, she's in Paris. And I'm like, is nobody upset about
which
this?
Lois Griffin?
Like, yeah, like I'm like,
Beta.
Your Lois Lane, your top reporter, is in Paris where there's a hydrogen bomb, and you're like not very concerned about it.
He's like, is she getting the story though?
Yeah, like it is. He's like, don't worry, Lois will get the story.
Hey, Perry
like,
White's all business.
Yeah, I'm like, Perry, your priorities are really showing right now.
Yeah.
I lost my note.
You lost your notes. All riff. Bada boom.
Love it. Oh, okay, I know what this note is. I had a note that says the Superman transitions are too funny to me, which is when he jumps out of the building and he's in his clothes, and then it just like flashes and he's in his suit.
Yeah, he's just like one.
Again, I think we said it last week. It's that era where it's like, what are his powers? And it's like, listen, man, whatever. He's fucking Superman. Whatever you want to do.
It's just anything super.
Yeah. Is it something that
Shrug.
a normal person couldn't do? He does it.
I know. He can rub his tummy and pat his head at the same time.
I do like...
That's the finale, is him like
that
aggressively.
And it's still Zod doing the...
It's like impossible.
It's still this like crazy reaction.
Right moments before he's like, kneel. And then he's like,
Hackman is waving the white flag. That's pretty good. But I was like,
he can take up piano at a late age.
Dude. Okay. Jason Statham needs to be in more comedies.
Yeah.
Those bloopers, his performance in Spy is too good.
I know we're bringing back the Naked Gun, but it's a shame he's not the villain of that movie.
Oh my God. Statham.
Tell me like Liam Neeson versus Jason Statham in a dry comedy off. That sounded weird. Can I take that back?
You can take it back. Yeah.
Jason Statham versus Liam Neeson in a comedy. Sounds really fun to me. I think depending on how that one does, like maybe if we get one more, that should be the goal.
For
I think.
Two Naked, Two Gun.
Two Naked, Two Gun.
I am fully behind you on put Statham in a Naked Gun movie. Mm-hmm. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
But I will say with this whole thing in France, so Lois does get involved. Mm-hmm. I like that she's getting involved. And then she is instantly trapped and Superman has to save her.
Yeah.
And it's that thing that it's like, man, that's frustrating. This kind of isn't where Lois shines as like just like the person to
No.
be saved. Nor does any character for that matter.
No, really, not really
but
at all.
it not at all. But like we talked about Lois Lane as like this very. I mean, Lois is a deeply independent and capable character.
Yes.
And that she just gets like stuck in the elevator, and she's like,
oh no, my
"Whoa!"
purse. Like,
Yeah, like it's like again, it's this like hijinks shenanigan thing.
yeah,
that
it's
I'm
very Black or not Black Panther, Pink Panther.
Pink Panther. No, I know that's a good reference.
She's like, doo 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 doo.
Yeah, she's fucking got the
She's like-
Killmonger mask
she's
and
like,
stuff.
she's like, I'm coming for the throne, and everyone's like, whoa.
That would be crazy.
That's how independent Lois Lane is.
Um,
She takes the throne from T'Challa.
I will say, I like Superman throwing the bomb into space.
I do too.
I was like, I
do
like this.
too, but I guess I'll save the Donner cut stuff for later.
No,
I
let's
guess,
talk
but-
about it.
Do we want to,
Yeah,
like,
let's
when we
say
get to it, because the whole the whole Paris mission is not in the original draft of 2,
No, not
nor
at
is it
all.
in the Donner cut, because the Donner cut basically. So this movie, the reason that Zod and his cronies are released from the Phantom Zone, because they've just been floating out there for the last 30 years,
Yep.
is that the bomb from the Paris terrorist shenanigans is hurled into space, and when it blows up, it like frees them.
Yeah.
But in the original Donner cut, it's basically a repercussion of Superman stopping the nukes in the first movie. One of them, when he goes back and saves everything, maybe I'm just like, I said this last week that I couldn't remember, like there's like
No,
a
you're
whole
good, you're
deleted thing that's maybe in the extended cut I watched, or maybe it's from the Donner cut, is that like he goes around and he like resaves everyone, and he throws one of the missiles into space, and then that missile is what released him. So it's the same missile.
They're like, we
gag,
just have to get there.
But like instead of like just like letting it be the thing because I have to reshoot it, it's like there's a whole terrorist shenanigan thing now is like the impetus. It was funny when the movie started, I was like, another bomb, really? Damn, like already?
Yeah, you're right. That is funny.
Just like out of the gate, I'm like, what's the danger? Frankly, we can't top a bomb, so
It's another bomb.
some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Hey,
Hey, old chum.
that's true. Unbelievable joke.
Thank you. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, love that. No,
One day we'll do that movie, but we'll wear appropriate attire. If you know what I mean.
for Batman, we'll do the outfits.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Unless you don't want to.
Oh, well, we could both be Robin. Just no one. Dish could be
Dish
Batman.
is Batman. We're
Yeah.
both in the Robin suit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
pretty
good.
good.
Or we
I'll
are
be Catwoman.
We're the
like,
villains, but when they're undercover and they have the domino masks on, is so funny.
That's pretty good. We'll do this episode on a special slant set.
Into that.
You need to get a budget for this.
We gotta start taking notes.
Lofty goals.
Damn, we're already talking
I
about.
segued real hard.
No,
That was
fair,
on me.
fair, fair. No, I think it is that. I don't know. It's it's like I don't. It's just there's just nothing really. It's hard to grab
you
on.
don't
to
gain
stuff.
anything by making it terrorist, really, other than we get to go to Paris, I guess.
Yeah, and I like that Superman is international. Like that's an important part of his character.
Because he's a global thing, but it's funny that it's like for a guy, like, because like one of the things Lester, in addition to being like, let's not do the David Lean thing, is like he wanted it to be framed more like a comic book. So the camera doesn't move, everything's like locked off, more static, tableau kind of stuff. But I don't think that really works a lot of the time. But it's also like weird that he's like, I want it to be more comic book, but at the same time, so much of this movie is not in Metropolis.
Yeah,
It goes to real places.
like Niagara Falls.
Like Niagara Falls. Jim and Pam are getting married.
Yeah, hey, that'd be okay with that. The thing is, with framing it like a comic book, it's that thing of like, it's like and look, I know this movie is not reviewed well either, but I think it reminds me of Dick Tracy.
I love Dick Tracy.
Of like that movie is like the colors and the
I
costumes.
really love that movie. I won't
Fair.
even. I'm not even. No shame.
Hey,
I think it's great.
Speak your truth. Well, I think the stage, they're like everything's locked off, and it's like okay, but at least like the set
That's
design,
a visually
all this other stuff.
interesting thing to look at.
You're
you know?
trying to recreate the comic panels. If you're
Yeah.
just like shooting in Niagara Falls and you're like, here's the thing, we're locked off, we're not moving the camera, then it just looks bland.
Yes.
It just feels,
A lot of this movie feels like just basic coverage.
yeah.
You know, like it's
TV
just we
stuff.
showed up, we got it done as quickly as possible, and then we got out, which is, I think, what Richard Lester kind of specialized in. Like, and I don't mean to say that as like a criticism per se, but given that the Sulkins were like, we're over budget and you're going to also reshoot 50% of this now.
Yeah.
It's like,
Just finish the thing.
just finish the
is
thing,
probably
which
what they're concerned about.
Yeah.
I will say, yeah, it's like because whenever he finds a place to do a bit, he does. Like, there's the whole orange juice thing, smoking thing, where
What?
she's like, oh, I need my vitamin C or whatever, and then she's like, I understand the irony of her like
Pepe Sylvia,
chain
we got
smoking cigarettes, yeah, like as she's like squeezing orange juice. But again, it's that thing. I'm like,
orange juice good for my lungs.
I'm like, okay, so like what, like, but like, what's the point of all that? I will say, at the very least, a bright spot of this movie, Lester he gets to keep the cast. He gets to keep
the cast.
Reeve and Kidder.
Helps quite a bit,
Yes.
I would argue.
And Terrence Stamp.
Terrence Stamp is
Crushing it as Zod.
Yeah.
I think similar to what I said last week about Superman, he is understated.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of just like, yeah, I'm aware I'm Zod.
Yeah.
Except when he's going, Zod! Like that. Like he...
That should be the tagline for the podcast.
That's just ... Zod.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
I feel like someone else does that. I might be ripping off someone with that one.
I don't know.
I feel like it's a production company or another
that does that.
Thing that goes,
we'll look into it. We'll look into it.
Look into it. If anyone knows what it is, feel free to comment. I would love to know.
True. But I like Stamp is able, like, whereas like Superman is like, I'm just a guy. Like he's like, doing that.
Just the little guy.
Zod is like, I'm not fucking bothered with you.
No, he's not.
Kind
He's
of a
so
thing.
like, I think there's a bit later when it's not Feora because it's Ursa in this one.
Ursa, yeah.
Ursa, because they're essentially the same character, but
Yeah.
She's like, did you see what I just did with my vision, my powers? And he's like, we all have them, dear. Like he's just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
and
Well, even like I don't remember. I don't know if the moon sequence I actually quite like.
I do. That one feels very. I think that's all.
The tension is
Donner.
there. The stakes are there. When Non like bursts through the capsule and everything, I'm like, all that is
when she
great.
rips the patch off. I think I like
yeah, inflates.
and dies. Yeah.
All that stuff is, I think, pretty good. I do think I don't hate, but I don't love. I don't know where I stand on the bit where they think it's called Houston.
Yeah,
They're like the planet
yeah,
Houston.
that one feels like a very like egregious like.
Where I'm like, haha, I get. It's that thing of like,
Buzz Lightyear did it better. That's all I'm saying.
damn right. But I think it's that thing of whenever they try to make them serious, then there's another gag to make them like silly.
Yeah, it's like I think so much of the Donner stuff was like here's some like a real threat for Superman, and then Lester just coming in and like nerfing them like every chance he gets.
Yeah.
Whether like on the orders of the Salkins or through just because he thought it would be funny, like because I don't quite know.
I'm sure. And look,
what went into that decision making.
I don't know, but I will say, I mean, obviously, yeah, we also get Hackman back as Lex, which is fun. We get Otis for a little bit. Otis is not really in this one.
That's what I was thinking of. Otis deserves so much better in this one.
Otis is there, like
he was a faithful companion.
he really
A
was.
faithful little pug of a man.
The hologram thing I enjoy
The hologram thing, I think I thought was really cool.
because it does remind me of classic Lex.
Yeah.
It is weird that we do have I feel like that maybe I know we were like basically writing Otis out of the movie, but like if it was that and then it cuts to Lex like in the hot air balloon flying away, like
Yeah.
would have been cool. But I do like that bit. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's kind of fun and campy
Yeah.
and goofy or whatever. How Lex got it, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
But it's fine.
I think he's always had it. It's in the plan. It's like in a file drawer of like the amount of times he can go to prison. He's got like A through Z.
I'm into that.
And then Miss Tessmacher just went through and she's like, okay, C, and then it's like hot air balloon escape. Got it.
No, I see that. But I think all that is fun, and I think again Hackman is still like playing the scene, like he's chewing the scenery, and he's still like locked in. There are even some moments where I'm like, I honestly am. I don't want to say he's better in this one. I don't think it's that, but I do like. I'm like I love his dynamic with Zod and them. I think is very fun. I think he's having a lot.
He's
of fun
real
with
like
that.
doing business deals and like, hey.
Yeah, it's very low-key kind of in a way, which I think is fun. I also will say, I'll give Lester some credit when they go the Niagara Falls thing. I don't like.
I don't
really like
top
any
to
of it.
bottom. That whole sequence is really a drag.
I do like when
delicately
I think it's Lois. I do like the joke where there's like the tiger or whatever, the bear rug, and she taps it with her foot and she goes, "Wow, real polyester."
I wrote that down.
Good joke.
That's a really good joke.
That's a great joke. Other than that, kind of disinterested by this whole thing.
Yeah, not really.
I feel like it's also, I know it's that thing of like having seen the Donner cut, maybe I'm comparing it, but it feels like we're just not doing a lot. We talked about this last week a little bit, that Superman 1 maybe isn't the most well-structured movie in the world, but
No.
it's able to kind of get away in the fact that it's telling the origin story. So you kind of are able to write that off in a way.
Yeah.
With this one, I feel like we're kind of just wasting time. I have a specific point of reference.
I feel like this movie could be a tight hour 45, and instead it's just over 2 hours. I want to say it's shorter than the first one, but
it's like
this
2
one feels longer
with credits or something. This is my I will reference another comic book movie. This is what I call the X-Men Apocalypse problem.
Ooh.
In that the superhero is completely unaware of the antagonist for the majority of the runtime.
Yes.
In X-Men Apocalypse, they do not know Apocalypse is even around for like 55 minutes of the movie.
I thought you were going to say every 15 minutes it's a new origin story for a character who will do very little at the end.
That is, we can also apply that same terminology to that rule for another movie. I'm sure there are some, but for this one, it is like
that's the Apocalypse clause.
Yes, there you go. The Mrs. Claus. But
Santa Claus, not like claws like the guy.
because it's a bit on legal jargon.
Yes,
in this kids movie. I do like the Santa Claus.
I fucking love
I was
that
gonna
movie.
say that makes it sound like I don't love the Santa Claus.
That movie has an insane pitch though for like a family movie of like what if a guy who does business got locked in a contractual obligation to become Santa Claus?
It's the 90s. What a time. But like, you know, Superman is just kind of like this is where the Niagara Falls thing, I think a lot of it fails for me, where I'm just like, what are we doing here, man?
Exactly.
Like, I know that we're obviously Clark and Lois, that, you know,
it's almost like the trailer wanted to like make you think that he was marrying Lois in this one.
Sure.
And that's the only reason they went there.
Well, it's like, I know that there's this whole thing of like, oh, like Lois is kind of starting to get the idea that Clark is Superman.
Yeah, a thing they kind of toy with at the end of the
allude
first
to it in the
one.
first one, yeah.
But she's like, oh, no, that's a silly idea.
But I do think it's that thing of like, the whole side story, it just doesn't really click for me. And also I think because Lois feels oddly like, I feel like she's not really seeking it out. She just kind of is like, you know what I mean?
She's waiting for plot to happen to her.
Yeah, she's kind of just waiting for it to happen. I mean, I don't mind when she like throws herself into the river to like be like, oh well, you're
very 94 Spider-Man Mary Jane.
Like, well, she's like, oh, like if you're not Superman, like I guess no one's gonna come save me, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I just realized what you were referencing when you said that. Yeah, you're 100% right. That is true. That dude, crazy shit.
Some toxic energy right there.
A little bit.
Oh yeah, you really love me? Well, save me.
But like, I like that Clark has to like save her
without like blowing it, but I'm like,
but again, the Donner cut, I think it's better. I don't know if you remember,
because it's in that one, it's
she throws herself out of
the Daily Planet, right? Yeah,
and he like
it's essentially the same action, just different location.
Yes,
and the save is different.
He slows her breath down, or he slows her down with his like super breath. He like breaks her fall, and she like bounces off and she falls in the fruit, and then he like super speeds up to the window, and it's him like leaning over. He's like, Lois, are you okay? And she has like watermelon, and she's like, what? Like completely befuddled. But this one of her just kind of like flailing.
She's like, does this have seeds?
And there's this weird like janky, like, you know, him pulling her out with like
I think it's a really it's just like a very clumsy sequence to me. Like
that's a good way to put it.
Because it's just, to me, I'm just like, I feel like he has such speed, he could just like I don't know, like he could even like bullshit that like Clark is like just a really good swimmer or something, and like I feel like he could act it off like jumping into the water. So like why he's got to do it from the end? It's just like really, like, I guess, you know, like I'm just like the validity of it all is just very like clumsy to me.
Sure. I also think it's like, again, it's like when the reveal happens, to just talk about the reveal.
Yeah.
He trips and he sticks his hand in the fire.
Yeah.
And then he pulls it back, and she's like, "Oh, Clark, are you okay?" And then it turns out that, you know, his hand is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And that's where she goes, "Oh, you are a Superman." And it's one of those things, like, there's a reference where he's like, they're like, "Well, maybe you tripped on purpose because you wanted me to know." But I'm just like, I call bullshit on all that.
Obi-Wan, you lied to me. Well, in a way, what I said was true.
It's very certain point of view. Where it's like, again, the the Donner cut, not to constantly like hold up two photos.
Yeah,
like
we can't not.
It
It's
is
like,
hard to
our
do
whole
that.
thing is the sequel
Like-
ability of this, and then we have two versions of this movie.
that's true. Like in the Donner cut, it's the screen test.
Yes.
But the idea of Lois being like of tricking Superman.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even saying it has to be like the gun with the blank.
Yeah.
But just the idea that she's like actively creating this thing where she's like, I know how to get you.
Yeah.
You know, and when he has that moment of like, you know, and Reeves is still doing it in here. Like when he has his back turned and you watch him go from
This is the theatrical cut.
in the theatrical
Yeah,
cut.
when he like stands up
when
straighter,
he does
yeah.
that, I'm like, look, that is a trick that he does a couple times. It works every time.
It works really well there.
It's
It's
so
like that thing
good.
of, I agree with you. I think the Donner version's a little bit better.
It's just more interesting.
It
It's
is.
more
It
active
is more
for
interesting.
Lois.
It's more active for Lois, but I also there's something to give credit to the Lester version of the scene. I kind of do like that he sort of decides to tell her instead,
Sure, I
or
get
to like
that.
not like, okay, like I'm gonna like the ruse is up, like I am Superman. Like there's something about the agency that gives him too, but it is like the whole tripping to like point it out, and then it's like is like kind of weird with
it's
that.
clumsy.
Like it's clumsy.
I mean, literally, like in
Literally
this case,
clumsy. But it's like that weird thing of like, it's not like that moment doesn't. It's not like it doesn't work in the Lester version. It's just stronger in the Donner one, I guess.
Yeah, it just
me, at
kind
least,
of. No, I agree. It just kind of you're just like, oh, I guess she knows,
Yeah,
kind of a thing.
yeah,
And then again, we're kind of bouncing back and forth from this to like with Zod and Non and
Yeah.
Uhura, like, or Ursa.
I think it's just Ursa. Yeah.
Uhura is from
Star
Star
Trek.
Trek. Sorry.
I said a couple times. I meant to ask about that. I thought you were doing a bit actually the first time you
No,
did it.
I just these are just accidental slips. I just started watching Star Trek for the first time.
Oh, really?
I've seen
Like the movies or the show?
the show.
Fun.
I've seen the Abrams movies, but I'm watching Strange New Worlds, the Anson Mount one.
Oh, yeah.
Loving it, dude. I like, especially like with the times we're living in, I'm like watching a show of a utopian society where people are open for pioneers and explorers and believe in science. I'm like,
People who believe in science and a morally righteous view.
it's a nice home away from home. But so Ursa, excuse me. So the three of them, like, we're cutting from all that, and like Ursa and them just like, again, like sometimes doing bits, sometimes not. I like Zod, like when they land in the water that he like raises up and
Yeah, it does,
walks on it and stuff like that. But the whole with
like, evil Jesus, here I come.
yeah, exactly.
Rah, rah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen.
Into that. And obviously you get this gag is like a little played out, but I'm okay with, of like the guy drinking the cup and he like pours it out or whatever. But Non, like,
No more for me, thank you.
yeah, he's like, well, I guess I'm stopping that. But the laser gag, the eye gag thing, it's one of those where I'm like, I don't really even understand what the joke is.
Yeah.
I get it. It's
This
like
guy's not good at his job.
he's just not good.
Yeah.
Is the whole thing. But I'm like,
the joke is he's a shitty Kryptonian.
I suppose, but he's the one that everyone's scared of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Lex has that great joke later on where he's like, you know, the four, where he says like the three of you, four if you count him twice. Like, I'm like, yeah, okay, I got where you're like, you know. But having him just be
Really
like,
funny. Gene Hackman is really funny in this movie.
Hackman is really, again, that's where I'm like, I don't know if he's better in this movie, but he's certainly like
When was the
got
last
some
time you
more
watched Young
jokes.
Frankenstein?
Oh, it's been too long.
Okay, but like, you know, when he's the blind priest, and
Yeah.
he's like, I'm mute. Where are you going? I was gonna make espresso. It's just so good.
Dude, Young Frankenstein, it's one of my top 10 comedies of all time. That
We have a
movie's-
Gene Wilder cameo in this movie. Did you catch that?
Gene Wilder?
I think it's Gene Wilder. I meant to look it up, but I ran out of time. But I'm pretty sure one of the taxi drivers, when everything starts going to shit and they're like destroying the city, one of the cab drivers is like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun," or something like. He says something to that effect.
I gotta look this
and
up.
it looks like Gene Wilder with glasses.
I can't look this up. I have to look this up.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he was.
No.
I can't see it.
No.
I see villain
Okay, then we'll
actors.
pretend that I was talking about John Ratzenberg the whole time.
I see Gene Wilder was almost cast as Lex Luthor,
That would have been fun.
which actually kind of would have worked.
That actually really would have worked.
Hackman, I think, is
I think Hackman works
right
really
choice, I
well
get
and
it.
brings a little something else to it. But like, now I'm really sad because I feel like Wilder and Reeves would have had really
That's
good
pretty
chemistry. That's a I'm sad now.
It's an interesting. I mean, obviously, Wilder, still one of the greats.
One of the greats.
And same with Hackman.
Yeah.
But
This is my shooting hand.
I will say something. Little bastard shot me in the ass. All that stuff.
You lose.
It's so good. Let's play chess. But when I speaking of Gene Hackman, when he gets to visit the fortress, because this whole thing is like, oh, we're gonna find Superman's base. I really love,
and then I'll do it again in 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. And again in Superman 2025, it looks like he's visiting the fortress again.
Yeah.
If you look at the trailer.
Yeah.
Which is
At least this one's like an actual reboot this go around.
That's true.
We'll talk more.
I do like him being really interested in Kryptonian tech.
Yeah,
like he's like
that's
genuinely
a very
fast. It
good
feels
Lex
very right
detail
for
of
Lex.
him being like, "How do you operate, big boy?"
Well, like when Lara is speaking, you can watch him. He's like really Hackman is like lit up in that scene, and when he like says he like asked the right question, he's like, "Oh, I asked the right question." Like he's like a kid in a candy store.
He's like, yes, I'm smart enough to figure this out.
Yeah,
I'm the greatest criminal mind of the 21st century.
The idea that he can speak with these aliens from thousands of light years away, and he's like, he feels he's on that level, like to see him like really activated by that.
A real conversation. It's a dead woman.
Yeah, basically. It is nice that Laura's in this. I know that it's a pay thing.
I think it's a good workaround, but it is like that thing of thematically, Clark. They're so tied to the father and the son kind of dynamic and like allegory of the whole thing. It's like Jor-El makes more sense, but given that like there's a whole pay dispute thing going on and stuff, I think the mom's a good shot, and the fact that she had nothing to do in the first movie.
Nice to see her
this
get
is at least
play.
Something like that. It's like, oh well, he also spent that like 12 years in the first movie, like probably also talking to his mom. Like both of them were there, and he was getting a whole education on things. Is kind of a cool detail, I guess.
I agree. And then obviously, so like right around this point is when they reveal he reveals his powers or whatever, or she finds out that he's Superman. And he like references,
Lois.
Yeah, Lois.
Sorry,
that whole scene happens.
Yeah.
And
Sorry,
again,
tangent pretty hard doing.
No, it's okay. I think it's worth the conversation.
Yeah. Who's not in the movie, but
wait, sorry.
Gene Wilder.
Oh yeah, Wilder. Yeah,
Wilder not in it, but John Ratzenberg, yes,
is in it.
Yes,
for a couple seconds.
Which he's also in the first movie. Gets a promotion.
Who is he in the first movie?
He's with the air traffic controller when the plane loses an engine. He's like, Mayday,
yeah,
what's going on over there?
yeah.
And they're like, something's on something fast is moving towards the plane.
That's right. Okay, yes, thank you.
Those aren't the exact lines, but
what do you feel of?
And then this one, he works for NASA, so
hey,
promotion.
Good on him for the promotion, I suppose. How do you feel about the two cops that run into Zod and them?
They got a wide selection of what is the line? What is he doing?
He's like they have, it's like a menu. I'm like trying to and he's like, I don't want to eat the fish, and he's like, well, you don't have to eat the fish, you could eat this.
But do they have fish? This guy's really hung up on fish being there.
They are in a weird way. I do
is
like
it like Good Friday or something.
I like their interaction with Zod. I like that Ursa is like stealing the like.
I just like collecting patches in this movie, which is a really funny detail.
One of my favorite bits.
Hashtag just girl things. Like
it's true. Hey, listen, I'm all for collecting it. I'm with her.
Each one of these badges is for a man I've killed.
Hell yeah, good for her. Fucking do it.
That's feminism.
But
not actually. I don't. Don't come at me in the comments.
A bit that
that's what the Barbie movie was all about.
Damn.
Anyway,
a bit that I love is when Zod takes the shotgun. But when he fires it into his chest and he calls it a noisemaker, which implies that the bullets, he just didn't feel them. Like he just thinks it's a thing that makes a loud
some
noise.
king shit.
And I'm like, that's cool.
Kind of cool.
That's a good little detail that he's like, what a silly little noisemaker.
Yeah. It's like that thing of like, I don't really like how any of this sequence is shot, but everything they're doing, with the exception of non-bread, I really like the idea of like what they're doing and how they're setting them up, being like, they're pretty pathetic, aren't they, as humans?
Yeah, no, totally. I see. Well, it is.
Yeah, it's just something with the framing of it all. It's like, I was like, Lester, bro, you said comic book. This is like the least interesting arrangement of people possible.
And again, it's like sometimes we'll get like the destruction of the town.
Yeah,
I think is all really good for the most part. Like all that stuff, breaking the missile or whatever.
Yeah.
All that stuff is, and then we'll cut to a gag, and it's like, okay, well now we've deflated all of the tension in this. You know what I mean?
Hopefully, a giant franchise company doesn't do the exact same thing.
Oh no, what would
Oh,
happen?
no.
No, like like that stuff is weird. I mean, like it's funny to watch because like the first thing where like he like lifts the guy and the little boy is like, no, don't do that to my dad. Like all that stuff feels very clearly Richard Lester.
Yeah.
And then you get the military coming in and you're like, all right, there's Donner.
Yeah.
Like you can like, all right, there he is.
Yeah, there he is.
And
It's like a visit from an old friend.
it kind of is. You're like, okay, cool. So this movie's gonna be kind of interesting.
Yeah,
for,
like when the
a little
camera starts like moving like on a dolly, I'm like, ooh, we're back.
Yeah, literally. Well, what's crazy too also is like at this point, like things have already like, I don't know, like we're just like moving through this in a sense that like, again, it's like nothing's really.
Well, it's like they have to like go through this so slowly because we're intercutting it with the slowest falling in love sequence, I guess, possible.
And also, well, like the movie, the description, the summary, like on Max and stuff, talks about, Superman giving up his powers, which really doesn't come into play at all.
Now, I'm misremembering this detail because I read so much about the Donner cut and the timing of everything.
Yeah.
In this one, he gives up his powers, then they go to bed, right? Is that the timeline, or does he go to?
It's after they sleep together, and
like,
then
he
because it's like the next morning that she
lost
like
my
wakes
V-card.
up.
High five.
Yeah.
High five, Dad.
And he's like, now, and then they're like, your dad's not here.
And high five, I want to be mortal.
Because she walks in the next morning and she listens to him talking to him.
That's right. Yeah.
And she's like,
where'd you go? We were cuddling, bro.
Yeah, but she's like,
I gotta talk to my dad.
It'll never be able. I guess they work out the crystal thing with like the green crystal like falls down, which is why that they can rebuild it. Because Laura has the whole thing where she's like, if you give up your powers, like that's it, like you're done.
Yeah,
no take backsies, basically.
Yeah, which I guess was like, this was like this I guess must be a leftover from the like original draft that I don't even think makes it into the Donner cut, but just this whole like, okay, Superman needs to stand on his own without Jor-El since he's basically throwing Jor-El's advice to the wind at this point. But like, this is like I think they called it like a severing of the umbilical cord kind of thing. But I'm like, so he's got to blow up the Fortress of Solitude to do that?
I don't know. Well, again, it's this thing of like,
I guess it's that like we just really want to make sure the stakes of he can't go back are there.
But again, it's also like that happens an hour and 11 minutes in that we do the power thing. And the movie is 2 hours long.
Yes.
There's 45 minutes of the movie
left.
Really,
this movie is an hour long.
And we've just fucking started.
Yeah.
Like,
this
you know what I mean?
This is a 90-minute movie dragged out to 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which, like, if you're Richard Lester and you're like, I don't want to do the David Lean thing, just do a 90-minute comedy. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm like, I read
Well, that's what he does next time. Strap in.
I haven't seen it yet, so this will be new
Something
territory.
I know, Superman's not really in it as much. Or Superman is kind of like co-lead, secondary.
Yes, to Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor, yes.
Yeah. Which we'll get into all that next week. When Lester gets full control.
When he goes full Lester on the thing.
Full Lester, that's true.
That doesn't sound right. That sounds really mean to him.
It's okay.
Sorry, bro. I feel like I accidentally insinuated something horrible.
Well, hey, listen. I do have a note here that says, love they remake Mount Rushmore, and then in parentheses I wrote, sarcastic.
Big faces. Should be mine.
It's also funny to see them and watch the one that you like. The Lincoln one is so clearly the one that's going to be like fall. It's like old cartoons because it's clearly.
I wonder where the secret door is.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's such an obvious.
I wonder which object they're going to interact with next.
Maybe the one that's like not watercolored.
It's like Scooby Doo. They're like, "Where's the ghost?" And you see a barrel, and you're like, "Wait a second."
It's also this my next
it's like some creepypasta. The lamp.
Not to just completely relate to my notes.
The lamp.
We're like an hour and 15 minutes into this movie, and then I realized, and I have this in my note, where the fuck did Lex go? Lex, that's when I realized he just disappears. He's in the fortress, and then he's gone.
Yeah, but he doesn't show up again till the White House.
Yes, which is a good sequence.
Great sequence.
I also
fun fact, because Gene Hackman did not come back for any additional reshoots. Anytime you see him, you know it's Donner.
Yes, agreed. That was the thing.
Why that scene probably works so well.
It's like a Michael Caine and Inception thing.
Yeah,
where you're like, that's the indicator.
Yeah.
Which is funny because all the Hackman stuff really good.
All the Hackman stuff is really
All
good.
the Hackman stuff is
kind
good.
of the stuff that makes me like, it's like that funny thing of like when I said I was impressed is partially because I didn't know that exact rule until I was reading after the fact.
Oh yeah.
So like going into it, I was like, this movie's weirdly better than I would have given it credit to, but also like I'm very hyper aware of what is different
Yeah.
and how it's worse for it. But it's like, that being said, I still think it's a very serviceable watch. But
Well, look,
not to keep going in circles.
in reference to a previous
Not to be like a
episode-
man flying around the earth.
Hey, it's
return
okay. Just
time.
turn back time. I do think, in reference to previous episodes, I think it's important for us to say, for me to just point this out right now.
Don't point at me, man. It scares me.
I'm so sorry. I'll do the politician thing.
Yeah. Unless you do it like Harrison Ford. I could get behind that.
Let us listen. Like, fucking, I'm Red Hulk.
I shaved my mustache.
Fucking Tim Blake Nelson fucked up my prescription.
He's like, this isn't Viagra.
Oh shit. No, okay. I couldn't help but not think about this. Zod with a machine gun is
Harrison Ford doesn't need Viagra. I don't know why I did that
no,
bit.
Harrison Ford can do whatever
The door rips open.
he bursts through. Listen now.
He's like, I didn't kill my wife. I'm like,
You're like, I don't care.
I don't care.
I couldn't help.
Fugitive is awesome.
It is.
Who directed? That's not a Donner movie, is it?
No.
Okay.
Somebody else. I can't remember who.
I'll have to look
Has
that
a
up.
sequel. U.S. Marshals. We'll just throw that out there. So the White House destruction scene
Yes.
is really good.
Yes.
And it does have a bit
Wait,
that
are we talking Superman 2 or
Superman 2.
Captain America Brave New World?
Superman 2. Yeah, Captain. That part's pretty good. I like that part.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good. Again, Harrison Ford plays a 9-foot tall red monster. What can I do?
Abs for days.
That's cool. That's objectively
They're like,
fun.
what if we put Harrison Ford's face on Arnold Schwarzenegger's body?
You know what?
And he was
I
red.
was good with it.
I was good with it.
Wish I had the mustache.
I know. Mustache
Yeah.
would have been great. They're like,
Would've
where
been
does it
great.
go? Just shave it.
No,
No, keep it, you cowards.
I love how.
Mustaches are back. Did no one watch Top Gun Maverick?
Yeah, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
At some point. What I love about
Maybe in 3 years.
like the White House destruction is it's like Lois in the car, like in
Yeah.
the first one, where I'm like, the chaos of this I can really feel.
Yeah.
And I do think, again, in referencing a previous episode, I think Zod with a machine gun is what Doom with a bazooka wishes it was. When Zod grabs it, I was like, oh, that's why that's in Fantastic Four.
Kneel.
Yeah, like, like,
Get down on your knees and tell me you love me.
here's an idea.
I like how much Home Alone's coming up in this.
I'm into
these
that,
episodes.
man. Hey, good movie.
Good movie. John Williams score. It's all tied
also
together.
great score.
Although John Williams does not come back for this one.
No,
which we
in
haven't
protest because of the Donner thing.
done. Yeah. Yeah,
Good
and-
on him.
And George Unsworth protested so hard he died.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Unsworth, you did an amazing job.
He really does. Though.
Shout
That
out.
first
He-
movie has such a good look to it, especially like the farm stuff is just
It's
super Norman Rockwell kind
oh
of
yeah,
stuff.
all the
Just
stuff
like,
on Lois's balcony looks really really good.
just A+ stuff. And then I forgot the name of the man who does this, who does very serviceable work. It's just not as interesting, but
No,
I'm just gonna go ahead and say that's purely because they just don't have time to take. They're not taking their time with it to try to
Yeah,
make
I
it
can
look
see
good. They're under gunfire to like make it as
Yeah.
fast as possible.
get it done and
Yeah.
give it to us now.
Get it done. Do it cheap.
Where do you stand on the?
Hollywood.
It's the movies,
Where
baby.
the streets are painted with gold.
Where do you stand on the diner sequence?
The diner sequence. So I love the idea of Superman standing up to a bully.
Totally,
I'm a big
100%.
fan of that. The placement of it here is, again, this is the structure of these movies is really wonky. I feel like I want to say it was the way the Donner cut plays it works better, but I also don't know that it does. You know, it's
Sure.
like it's the thing of I kind of like the sequence by itself. I don't really know how it's a thing of like I understand how it fits into the idea of like, oh, Hercules without his strength, what is he kind
Sure.
of thing. But it also it's like it's so funny that he's like in the span of what is ostensibly less than 10 hours is
Yeah.
like I need to be mortal. Oh, it's really mean out here.
Yeah, he gets beaten up once,
Oh,
and he's
no.
like, fuck.
He's like, babe, you got to go back to the city. I have to walk home.
Literally.
Look at my wounds. She's like, we have a car. I could drive you. No.
I do like the moment where he realized he goes blood. He like
Yeah, he's like, he's
recognizes
never
his own
blood. Like, there's like that's a really nice moment, but the like timing of it all is really fun because it's like really what this movie needs in its structure, not to like rewrite it, but But if we're gonna take what the theatrical cut is doing, like they need to like move through her finding out who he is within like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she needs to just be like, I'm calling bullshit, and then just like pulls the gun, like they do in the Donner cut, and that way that like they can take time with him being mortal.
Yeah.
Kind of like Spider-Man 2, where he has
Spider-Man 2 takes this baton and
yeah, they take this
and
idea and do it a
perfects
lot
it.
better.
They
in
do
that
it
one.
much better.
Uh,
well, because it's
and
the
it is
theme
funny. It's
and
the second
crux
Spider-Man
of the movie.
Yeah. But it's like, that's the thing of like, it's like this whole thing boils down to like, I need, like the world needs Superman. Like there's a way to do like, you really can't go back, you know, like you can't be mortal. But yeah, the actual structure of this is just so wonky because it's like literally like within 10 minutes of being mortal, he's like getting the crap kicked out of him.
It's also, again, like I have it noted here, it's like this scene happens it's also the moment when Clark learns that Zod is here.
Yeah.
And the movie's 45 minutes from being over.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
yeah, it would have been nice if you had known about that.
yeah, like, well, like what have we been doing if the movie's like kind of just now kicked off?
Well, they went on a date, they shagged.
Oh, that's right. They ate at that table in the Fortress of Solitude, which is
Yeah.
kind of funny to me.
He brought her flowers.
He did bring.
I feel like Will Smith in Men in Black. Oh, you brought that nice man some flowers.
True. But I do, again, Lex comes in. It's the best parts of the movie for me is Lex coming in and waving the white flag and being like, hey, wait a second. I'm Lex Luthor. Like,
Yeah.
you got to have me on your team,
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
You don't bench Jordan.
He goes to crush. He goes to hold Ursa's hand, and she crushes it, and he's like, "All right," he like pulls it away.
That's really good. Is that before or after Superman gives up his powers? That's like
After.
Right after?
Right
okay.
after.
How do we feel about that transformation sequence really quick before we move on? Where he climbs in the chamber and it's like his deconstruction of man kind of thing?
Oh, weird.
Super friggin' weird, right?
I'm kind of into it, but I also am like weird.
It's really weird.
Well, they also, speaking
Awful.
of the extended cut that you talked about from the first one, they use a shot from
Yes,
that thing
the
with
scenes that
Lex.
you remember, they cut him getting
like-
like flamethrowered
Yeah.
and like shot at, and it's like, why is that not in the original edition? That's really cool.
It's really
It's
cool.
really cool. I know the movie's probably running long, but yeah, with this one, it's like they're recutting to it for some reason. Like I just think they were like, oh, Superman's on fire and we didn't use it yet, so
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. And they go straight from the destruction of the White House straight into the destruction of the Daily Planet.
Mm-hmm.
Again, good stuff.
Good stuff. Well, it's like funny. They're like, we're all powerful. Throw some desks.
Yeah, I do like Lex walking in with the door, and he's like, when are these guys ever going to learn to use a door or whatever? I'm like, Hackman, you're fucking nailing this, dude.
he's
You're
nailing
earning
it.
every cent. And yeah, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I wish, and then Superman comes back in. Like, we see him walk towards the fortress. He grabs the crystal.
Yeah,
I would.
That's a cool shot. But
It
that's,
is a good shot.
Yeah, which I guess is from the Lester edition.
All right.
Because in the Donner cut, Jor-El's like ghost manifests and
That's
like,
right, he puts the hand
imbues
on the
him with the
shoulder.
powers, which is conceptually a cool idea, but I actually think in this case the Lester version kind of works better because it's sort of that like your power, like something about the crystal. I guess we don't really see what it is, but something about the power being within the whole time. I guess this kind of is the same problem with the turning back time thing. We don't really see enough to really know what's going on.
I like the maybe explanation, I guess, of the crystal. I do wish there was an emotional beat like
Yes.
that with Jor-El, like to see Clark get his powers back.
Yeah.
Because he just
'cause this
pops back in.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the crystal that he throws into the ocean to
Yeah.
create the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
calls to him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But like him not having.
Do you want to do like a when we come back? What just happened?
Fuck.
Like a Star Trek, like whoa.
Yeah.
It's gonna cut to me starting that way, right?
That's pretty good. I like that. We had to move some cameras around just due to some technical issues. But we're plugging along because Superman has his powers again,
He just
and he drops the wonderful General, would you care to step outside?
yes.
Which is a great line.
That's a great line.
That's one of those that's been referenced for years now.
It has been. Ow.
You okay?
I just hit my elbow. This is funny, not a tangent. I keep
Yeah.
sustaining weird injuries. If you can't see, I
Oh,
burned
yeah.
myself at work, and it kind of looks like Snake Eyes' clan insignia from
it
G.I.
does.
Joe.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
I'm not mad, but I did burn it in a really stupid way. I was
That's
reaching on the hot burn. I work at a restaurant, for those of you who don't know, when we're not podcasting. It's a side hustle. The podcast is the main hustle.
Yes.
But I burned it like the mortal I am on a plate of like pasta, and then knee jerked up and hit the actual hot part of the like burner,
God.
but created a perfect little square. And the day before, I cut my hand cleaning a toaster.
So sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, man, I
And
work at a
then
coffee
while watching
shop.
Superman 2, I took a nap for 10 minutes. Not because it was boring. I was just tired. And my eye hurt when I woke up. So I think I'm dying. But
No, it's just the effects of.
not to go through all my weird list of like injuries, but
It's all right. It's all
yeah.
right.
Anyway, I'm not
Um,
Superman. That's all
hey.
I'm saying.
At least not.
I
or
bleed.
you have yet to go back to the fortress and put the little green
True.
crystal.
I'm like,
with it.
Matt, you punch me, I bleed.
I'm like, whatever that means. But
Sorry,
no,
that was a huge tangent.
The-
Superman has his powers back.
he's back.
General, would you step outside?
That fight scene's pretty good.
I think that whole fight is awesome.
One joke that I don't like is when they hit Superman, he goes flying, and some random guy in Metropolis goes, "Wow, home run." I was like, dude, who the fuck are you, dude?
Speaking of random lines that were definitely just shoved in by Lester, back not to jump all the way back to the Niagara Falls sequence, but when he saves the little kid
I know what
from
you're
falling,
gonna say.
and they're like, he has to be Jewish or
You know
something
he's
like that. You know that he's Jewish.
Yeah.
It's so like, I mean, maybe I don't
Yeah.
know why is that.
Maybe a reference to his creator's origins, I suppose.
I don't know. It's just like was that like in the lawsuit? Like, because I know the like Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster like never saw a dime from any of the
No.
Superman merchandising.
Which is so
Like even
fucked
to
up.
this day, like they're still trying to fight for the estate is like fighting for the rights, right? Or
They're-
how does that like panned out?
Well, there's some lawsuits with international releases and stuff
Okay.
like that they go in, which they've tried. They tried with the gun one. They've tried with Man of Steel, and I think even with Returns, and it tends to not get that one doesn't go in. But I mean, people who create comic book characters deserve residuals
They
for the
absolutely
characters that they themselves created.
We're taking a stand here in the We Need 101 podcast.
Yes.
That's an easy stand though. Like
yeah.
they should. I guess
They really
it's stupid
should.
that they have
They
it.
fucking made the character.
Yeah.
I understand that the company owns the character because
Yeah.
they made it under whatever, but they made it.
Yeah.
They should have owners. They have some
Yeah.
form of financial compensation or ownership
Yeah,
over
not
the
to get
character.
like old Tron on this, but like to the user. Like,
No, I'll do it. I'm gonna get,
I'm gonna get those royalties myself.
let's dude, listen. I'm
but-
I'm fine. I will go fucking again. I don't give a shit.
But yeah, okay. So you were saying, oh wow, home run.
Yeah, wow, home run. Dumb joke. Kind of weird.
Dumb joke. Well, this whole thing is like littered with like really cool shit and then like dumb jokes, just
Yeah.
like bananas, just like back to back, like
Well,
something cool and interesting, kind of a dumb joke. Like
I love the bit. Like I love Zod learning that he's like, oh, I know what Superman's weakness is. He cares about people,
He cares.
which is not. Is kind of become a bit of a cliche at this point.
the
But like
heart, Norman.
exactly. But I do think that it's a good like. I like that. And I think Stamp
It's
really
a good
sells
reveal, and
It's
it
a good
also
reveal.
like we talk about. It's nice to see Superman saving people.
Yes.
It's like this movie has that where he has to like do something about it, like what's happening. So, I don't know where I was gonna go with that thought.
No, I think, but I think, building off that, I think
really Michael Scotted that one.
no, you're good. I think building off of it, I think, again, it's like you have the moment where Zod is like blowing the wind and he's trying to like fuck with everybody because people think Superman's dead. And it's that moment where it's like, it's maybe not the most high tension thing, but there's some form of like, oh, Zod is attacking the people of Metropolis because also they have that great moment where they
Yeah.
try to fight him back.
Yeah.
But then,
Very like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
you can see a direct line.
Yeah.
Like
the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is like one step.
yeah, it's right there. It's like at the distance you and I are from each other right now. But which is for the audio listeners, close.
It's about 100 feet.
Yeah, it's
The camera just makes it look closer.
Yeah, we're shouting from each other.
Yeah.
But
That's what the
no,
mics are for. It's why we have headphones.
but like to have that moment where he's like attacking the people basically, and then Lester cutting in jokes of like people with like toupees,
Yeah.
and people at phone booths, and again,
What your hair? What about my hair?
like it's not even that I'm like those that like I don't even think it's unfunny, but I'm like it's like I have hat on a hat in here, but it's not
Hat in a
even
hat,
that
yeah.
exactly.
It's just like it's just more like the movie, like it's like a bit is grinding to a halt so we can tell more jokes.
Yeah.
And it's like I think the jokes are funny in concept, but it's like,
That's not really the point of what we're doing
yeah,
right
I'm
now,
like,
man.
I feel like I should be freaked out that like 3 aliens are about to wipe out humanity, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, just like I said, like Pink Panther, like it just feels very like campy, kind of like silly crap.
Yeah.
You know?
And Superman he leaves, right?
It's not
And-
that I have a problem with camp, just like meshing this with the first one. It's like, oh,
Well, it's also like it's got to feel, baked in. It's got to feel like part of the thing, and it's that thing when we add these jokes in, it feels out of place.
mm-hmm.
Like I'm not against jokes in movies or in anything, like, but it has to find the right balance, and it just feels unbalanced. And obviously now we move out of Metropolis. We all go to the fortress. They're like, oh, and let's take Lois Lane because he cares about her, and we're really gonna fucking stick it to him or whatever. And Superman pulls a little trick on everybody and saves the day, which I like the trick. Where do you stand on the cellophane S? I feel like we can't not do an episode on Superman 2 if we don't talk about
we
the
have to talk about the cellophane S. I just want to know what it is. What is it? What is his clothes, by the way, too? Because like when he loses his powers, the suit leaves him too. I'm like, is that like in his blood? Like, what is it?
Yeah, it's like
is it a symbiote?
Green Lantern construct thing.
He manifests the suit. Like it creates so many like weird questions about the suit, which was like up to that point heavily implied to just be his baby blanket, like repurposed to a degree, like
yeah.
So it's just like I don't. It's like, I think it's hilarious, one, but I think like just like. I don't like it.
Well, I do love that.
I like it in an ironic way, which I don't think is
agree.
the appropriate way to like something like this. It's just like, but what is it?
I like
I
like Nunn's reaction where he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like so
the hell?
confused. Yeah, he's like, "What?
Like, you remember
what
that bit?
was that?"
You remember that bit in Captain America: Civil War where Vision like flies through
Yeah.
Ant-Man and he's Giant Man. He's like, something flew in me.
It is that like just like
He's just
befuddlement.
like, was that a ghost?
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah. It's like you got that, and then they've got like his hologram cloning ability, which I kind of like the like wrong again Zod. Like,
Yeah.
the aha moment is like kind of fun, but I am like, where did he get these powers?
Sure. It's not. We haven't set this up.
Yeah, like none of it's set up for him to do this because he is just Superman flies. He's strong, and he has heat vision, and the ice breath really you could just argue is an extension of his super strength, having like super lungs.
Sure.
Like so like everything else is sort of like tied together. The heat vision is just kind of because it's cool as shit, but like cloning, hologram abilities. What's going on there?
I don't know. I will say something I do love.
Little man in a coat.
Well, I love a little man in shades.
Oh, my bad.
And I love
My
a
bad.
big guy in a coat.
I apologize.
Now listen, if we were to do a scenario of the little guy in shades atop big guy in a coat, and we do a big trench coat
big
scenario.
Trench coat, Voltron in a coat.
If we're doing a
situation.
Megazord situation, I am like, I'm down. I'm just gonna make that statement.
Yeah.
I'm there. No, I love the bit. Well, yes,
Snon,
but
Ursa, and Zod like stacked on each other. they're like, "Rah!"
dude, and they're just, and one day your ass. But
Neil.
I love the bit of Superman knowing that Lex is gonna fuck him over.
Oh yeah, that he's
That
like he can't resist. I'll set him up.
Even like when Lex is like, a guy knew it where he stood with you. You would tell the truth, and he's like, just try to get him in here. And the way Lex is like, Mom, Dad, like
immediately, which I thought was funny that he was just like at first because I didn't know he was gonna do that because I don't remember if he does it that way in the Donner cut.
He does.
Not. He does. Okay, I completely forgot how that bit played out ultimately, but like when he started doing it, he was like, hey man, can you like help me like sneak them in here? Like, can you like tell them to like get in there? Like, tell them to like make them like really powerful. I was like, they have super hearing, Clark.
Yeah, like you have that too.
You would hear that.
No,
but then it's like, oh, he's actually doing a trick, so it's actually irrelevant if they hear him. Like, it works for the con. But at first, I was like, Clark, like with question marks, like.
Well, it's just such a funny gag, and I also again it leads to another great moment. I think we referenced it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously we do the whole like the lights go red and everything comes out, and Superman goes to kneel, and then when he crushes Zod's hand, Stamp gives the greatest fucking reaction. That
the way he keels over and is like lifted.
The
it's
lifting
so
of his
funny.
shoulders, the like him like breathing in, like it's like the first time this guy's ever felt pain. Like it is it's an like no notes. It's so
Yeah.
perfect. And when the music kicks in, like I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I do think it's funny that Nunn like thinks that he's like, it must have not affected me or something. He like tries to fly, he just falls.
Yeah.
Another thing I feel like we should talk about, especially given a movie that we will talk about in a couple episodes, Superman killing Zod.
Yeah.
Where do you stand?
So, okay, remind me, how does it actually play out in this one?
He crushes his hand,
Yeah.
picks him up, throws him against the wall, and he just like falls into the fog of the Fortress of Solitude, and that's it.
Okay.
It's not
It's not a confirmed kill, but
it's an assumed
it's
kill.
an assumed kill.
Yeah.
Huh. Yes, this is where I'm at with this. I couldn't even remember that that's how it actually like.
Well, there are different
Ends.
cuts. There's
I
a
know,
TV
true,
cut
and
where
I-
they get arrested.
Yeah. Well, so it's like
Yeah. It's I don't know
we
if
got
you-
a knee slap from
if
the
our
producer.
has noticed this. It's the exact same scene, and then it cuts to an exterior of the fortress. I'm not making this up.
He ain't playing. He got
And there is
receipts.
like a car, and they're being escorted away by like the police of Antarctica. Antarctica
Yeah. Is it the same two guys?
or the North Pole? Excuse me, it's North Pole.
North Pole. Yeah.
The North Pole police.
Is it the
much
same
more
two cops
normal.
from earlier that are like,
I
you
wish.
don't
I
have to have the fish?
I don't think it is. It's
It's just
literally
those two guys in parkas.
well, because it's for the TV, so it's a wide shot. Like it's none of the actors. It's just them like in their suits. He's pulling it up right now.
It's like, wee, wee.
I for sure am.
But like it's not as in your face as the Man of Steel death, and we'll talk
No,
about.
I
the
think
Man
it's
of
a
Steel
thing of I
death.
prefer this because like it's just sort of the implication of like Superman not like aggressively killing someone, that just sort of in the like, I mean, he really does just throw him against the wall, so I guess he would be pretty responsible at that
Sure.
point. But I don't know. I guess it's like that thing of like, I don't really like a Superman who kills,
Agreed.
especially in particularly brutally ways like this, you know. It's a thing of like, you've already depowered them. I don't see a reason for them to be killed off also.
Yeah, I agree.
And I, like, especially Christopher Reeve's version of the
It
character,
can be weird in
just
both
to me
cases.
doesn't kill, you know.
Yeah.
Like, he shows up, he stops them, he puts them away. Like, that's kind of his thing. And it's, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it feels weird having him kill. I'm just not a big fan of that.
I agree.
We'll get more in that in the future episode of this saga.
Yes,
'Cause
that there will be. It'll
it
be a
is
little
unavoidable.
more. Well, because in that one, and we'll get to it, is
Yeah.
a little more thematically relevant
Yeah.
at the time when it happens, and it is a little more, or it like not that the death works for the theme, I think, but it is in conversation with the theme of that movie, and we'll get to it. But also, yeah, it can also be weird here,
It's very weird.
and it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Which, again, going back to the Donner cut, they get arrested. So,
I think they still die, actually.
no, I read a thing that in the Donner cut, well, actually, I don't know what it is.
Because it's
but
the TV one where they get arrested.
Okay, but I think that was shot by Donner because, like, I think the guy who plays Non was saying in like an interview later that like they were like, "What's it? The Superman killed you?" And he was like, "Well, actually, that's not true. That's not actually."
Oh,
There's
cool,
like
cool,
footage
cool.
of us not like surviving the finale.
They
It's just
didn't-
not in the Lester version, and then in the Donner version, I don't know if it made it into the Donner cut 'cause I haven't seen it in a couple of years, but it's the implication is that he does just like they get arrested, and that is like part
Fair
of the
enough.
Donner version of it is that Superman doesn't kill.
Yeah.
Um,
What's weird about the movie is that after this, it almost kind of feels like the movie jumps forward in time to me
a little bit.
with the Clark and Lois stuff in the planet, which is the end
It
of the movie,
does.
where like Lois feels
like
like
a lot
she's
of time has
pretty
happened.
on board for the events of the movie and being with Superman, and then we're in the planet and she's like,
Apparently, we
just-
can't be a thing.
yeah, she's like, I just don't think this is gonna work, like kind of a thing. I'm like, something happened.
Yeah.
I don't think I just watched it happen though.
No. That being said, this scene is really good
Yeah, I get
for
that.
what it is. Like Margot,
I think they
Kara
are
is
good.
so
Yeah,
good
they are very
in
good.
this moment of like I have to come in and I have to see you every day. Like I'm like, damn, like that would suck. like, and like to share you with the world. Like, it's just like, oh. But I guess this brings us to the super kiss, the other super controversial
which
thing of this movie.
You said last week this was going to be time travel.
Yes, because the original idea was that he was
intent.
going to do the time travel, which in the Donner cut they just redo. They do a. It happens again.
Yeah,
he turns back time a second time.
Well, I think it was that it was not there was not going to be time travel in the first one, and then that was going to be in the second one.
That's what. So yeah, basically,
or in the Donner cut, right?
Moved, in the Donner cut, the
yes,
actual version that if you watch it, he does just do the time travel thing a second time. So, which is really, I don't know how I feel about that. As like I'm just going to turn back time a second time. Like, obviously he can, but it's just like. I don't know. It's just like that feels even more Deus Machina than the forgetting kiss, which at least actually, because like this was like a huge point of controversy when 2 came out that like he doesn't have that power, but apparently actually in the comics he does.
He does.
It's like it's a thing he does exactly one time.
There is. I was gonna say, it does feel with how powers are utilized in these movies. It does feel like. They threw a dart at the darkness and they accidentally hit a bullseye. That they're like, oh shit, he does? Like, kind of a thing.
He does? No, wouldn't it be funny though if he was like, oh, Lexa knows my identity too?
I think there's a bit.
Give me your face.
There's some bit from
Let
some
me
show
kiss you.
where he does that, where he's like, I keep wiping people's memories. I have to kiss them. And I think it is like he Lex and stuff like that. I don't remember what show it was.
That's really funny.
But I've seen some joke like that before. But
that's hilarious. It's just like. He's like, I gotta get some chapstick, man. Some super chapstick.
Hey, you know what?
He probably are getting chapped.
He should. You gotta protect your lips. You gotta. Look, skincare, all of it.
Skincare.
Gotta keep yourself up to date.
How many steps is your skincare routine?
Mine's
4.
Should I really? Okay, wait.
That's not a joke. I have a 4-step skincare routine.
I have a 6-step.
Nice.
Actually, maybe 7.
Ooh.
6 or 7.
Does that steps involve washing your face?
No.
Or is it everything that follows?
Post washing my face.
Okay. I've never done the math on that. So
someone might be like 6 or 7. Jesus Christ, man, calm down.
Yeah, there's like 2 guys. Like this is turning to call me dad.
We're talking about
Call her daddy.
Let's do it. I don't care.
We'll do it.
Skincare.
So
take care of yourself, guys.
Take care of yourself. Drink water.
Use sunscreen.
Those of you who are not in California and you're just like, I don't need water. I'm not thirsty. You do. That's why you look so terrible.
Oh shit! Oh my god! Did you just wage war?
I just waged war on like half the United States.
Oh my god!
And then that's where the podcast died.
He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it.
I didn't mean it. But I'm concerned about your skincare, guys.
We're all. We are. Take care of yourself.
No, people don't look that bad.
Damn, that was your. And fuck you, San Diego.
I really did. They're like, Ron, you can't do that.
Why did you say that, Ron? Poo poo mouth.
I feel like that's my bit on this podcast is me just like trying to piss people off for some reason.
Hey,
it just happens.
It's fun.
I have opinions.
No, it's funny.
You know, who don't drink water, your skin looks dry.
No, you should drink water. I heard someone say like hydration is key. Like that's the whole thing. Dave's drinking water. That's the bottle, which contains the water.
Yes. Just ring that bell,
dude. I actually might be ringing the bell later.
You're gonna ring the bell later?
My girlfriend texted me. She said, she said, fuck. And then she just sent me the bell emoji. So yeah, I think I'm ringing the bell.
Those of you who don't drink water, get a Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Oh, true.
That'd
be a crazy skincare. Moisturizer. Baja Blast.
Your skin, you turn into a baby.
You push time through Lang.
Wait, say that again?
You push time through Lang.
Like, time through Lang?
Endgame.
Oh.
You want to push Lang through time?
Yeah,
you end
you
up pushing time through Lang.
Gotcha.
Sorry for the deep cut. But yeah, so okay.
I thought you were saying Lane, like Lois Lane, and I was like, oh shit, what's this? Oh.
We have one.
I'm a bad Superman watching guy.
We have one last bit before this movie
here dogging
ends.
people for their skincare routines.
Hey, it's all right. We'll keep it up.
Keep it up.
But we have one more scene before this kiss happens, and then Clark goes back to the diner.
What's the scene before the kiss?
After, I meant. Sorry.
Sorry.
He goes back to the diner and
he kisses her.
Beats
tender,
that guy
beautiful
up.
Kiss, and she forgets.
Yep.
And he goes back to beat the guy up.
Yeah.
It's like I like seeing a bully get his comeuppance.
it feels a little weird that he's like, well, now that I have my super strength, fuck you. Like, it's like now that he knows
wow,
that he
Superman
can't get
got
hurt.
real petty in this one.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Like, the truck thing in the Man of Steel, I actually think works better.
Weirdly, yeah.
It
You
feels...
know, that kind of comes with different...
I think also because it happens right after it.
True.
In this one, it's time has taken place.
Time has elapsed. He just came back and said, now die.
And Clark is like, yeah, and another thing. Like, kind of.
I've been working out, though.
That's a good
That
bit.
part's really funny.
That's actually my last note, is physical gag working out is really good.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just kind of...
Yeah. It's just, again, but it's thank God Richard Lester had, this cast. Like, it's Reeve doing that stuff and nailing it, man.
Yeah. God.
I don't know.
Oh,
It's a mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag. It's tough because it's like I said, like I don't like all said and done. I do think that the Donner cut does a lot of things better.
Yes,
but this theatrical cut that we are given, that we're playing with the question of one more, is very watchable for most of it, even though nothing happens for an hour.
Yes.
Once you get to that back hour, though, it's pretty good.
Yeah. But it's a lot of the set piece stuff, which is a lot of the Donner
what
stuff.
Donner had. So like with that, it's like it's really hard to like rate this movie in terms of we need one more score. Like, and
yeah,
I've sent my numbers in for our average.
I have as well. I have the average right here.
Oh, you have the numbers.
I have the numbers.
So is this the time? Do we have anything we want to add before we get into our new segment? We need one more. We need one score.
No,
we were calling it.
We need one score.
It is. We need one score.
We need one score.
I'm
yeah.
not talking. I must fit Sam. I'm not
okay.
saying full words anymore.
I was saying uhura like 5 minutes ago. So do we want to say what your score is?
Yes, I'm giving this a 5 out of 10.
I have given it a 6 out of 10.
Nice. Now, why did you give it one more point than me without knowing why I gave it 5?
Hackman doing the little white flag. Just funny.
That's fair.
He does it a couple times.
No, I think the thing is the cast is still so enjoyable.
There's enough here to build on.
Yes, and it's like that thing of like
unfortunately that doesn't happen.
Yeah, all your major players are basically ready to go for another adventure. So, given that this, like we said, the back half of this is pretty enjoyable, even if it is just essentially what Donner was going to do the whole time.
Yeah.
There's some wiggle room, but like, yeah, all the stuff they added on, it's just like
Reeve is still so good.
Yeah, so it's like maybe me giving it a 5 is maybe too low, but I think
it
is that thing of like just
score.
The tone of like going from mythic legend into just a
quirky comedy. Doesn't
work for me. So it's like if I'm gonna go get one more, and it's gonna have more of this particular brand of stuff, I'm like, yeah, like I'm going with like a 5 out of 10 on this one.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm like, I had a good enough amount of time. Mm-hmm. I do think there are some Superman stories. We've done Zod now. We've done Luther and Zod. So I'm like, there's enough Superman stuff in there that I'd be excited to see something new.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Maybe like a character actor or like
like a stand-up comedian.
Like a comedian.
I guess we'll find out. You ready for the average?
Yes.
The average, with our wonderful producer Dish's score included, is a 5.6.
Oh, big drop.
Yes, big drop.
Because we had, what was it last week?
It was an 8.
It was an 8.
So we have like basically 6. A full 3-point, almost a full 3-point drop.
That's a D average, right?
Yeah. That, unfortunately, kind of feels apt.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately.
It does.
A movie that I would revisit. I don't hate it.
Again, which is weird because I don't hate what we are getting out of this theatrical cut, even though we've spent most of the time comparing it to the Donner cut and how it's better. But like, it's still ultimately it works, even if it is like a clumsy run to the finish line. It's still,
yeah,
it's also still making it to the finish line, I guess. But
where it honestly it kind of skates by on being, just like kind of nothing. A little bit, like I don't mean to say the movie like has no value, but it's like we talk.
Sounds like you do, man.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what?
You're like this movie doesn't drink water.
Yeah, and fuck your guys' skincare routine. No, like
that's not in your routines, guys. I want to know. I just want to make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah, let's talk. I also would love.
This is actually more of a mental health talk, to be honest. I didn't mean to be so mean about the water thing. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's okay. Get your electrolytes.
I'm like a Sour Patch Kid. I'm like
Sour,
I'm like,
sweet.
I'm like, bah!
And then we're almost
I'm
gone.
sorry.
Something we've talked about off air is like the idea of like, I'm down for a big swing, whether it works or not.
Yes.
And this one, and obviously I know it's two directors clashing,
Yes.
but like it doesn't feel like an outrageous success, but it also doesn't feel like an abject like failure.
No.
It's just kind of like a movie.
Yeah, it's like that thing of like, I guess I would do another one.
Yeah.
But like for me, like I guess I'm like, I'm fine.
I don't see myself rewatching.
I love this cast. I probably won't rewatch this. I'll probably give the Donner Cut another watch at some point.
Sure.
But even then, I'm more inclined to watch the original one more.
Yeah, I feel you.
So, like with our score at 5.6, do you think that's a yes or a no? I guess we gotta decide since it's in the middle, but
maybe we decide that retroactively next week. No, I would say it's a yes.
We say it, but we bleep it out, and then we
if it's if it's a 5 or under, that's a no. If it's a 5 or if it's over, 5.1 or over, I think that's a yes. So
Yeah.
it's barely getting.
I have to quote this kid from like freaking like, oh my god, like middle school. But I went to elementary. Like this was like a whole thing. But we were talking about like grades and like how like to get through college and everything. Like you do just need a C average basically.
C's get degrees.
C's get degrees. And then someone was like, yeah, you can basically get it with just C's. But then they're like, oh yeah, and Charles, when you get to the like diploma thing, and like the way he said the like, oh yeah, and this kid was so funny. Like this is like 20 years ago, but like
fair. No, it's
but
that,
the idea of like yeah, and
it's obligatory.
Obligatory. Yes, you graduated.
Yeah. No, fair. I get that.
But
yeah, that is kind. Again, it just kind of sneaks under.
yeah,
Just barely.
just
makes
barely.
it
Like
in.
I guess I'll take one, but I would prefer more Donner-esque stuff over the Lester stuff.
Well, I have really terrible news for you, Dave. We won't be getting that next week.
Are you telling me not to invest in plastic?
Lester has full reins on this one.
Jeez,
And we'll see.
okay.
I've never seen 3
I've
or
never
4.
seen it either.
I'm excited, despite knowing that these aren't well regarded.
Because I guess we'll find out next week. Is this the one where he like splits into 2?
Yep,
Okay,
that's the one.
into 2 cuts of the same movie.
That's right.
Do you think it's an allegory for what happened in 2, the director's cut?
I guess we'll get into it.
I guess we will.
We'll have
next
some
week.
takes, and we'll want your skincare routine.
Yes, unless it's more than 14 steps, in which case you need to rethink
In which
that one.
case,
but
that might be. You might need to consolidate. Like that's
yes.
It's hard out here. We're spending money. 14
We are.
steps.
In this economy?
14 steps. Thank you for listening to We Need One More.
Be sure to follow us on socials like TikTok and Instagram at WNOM Podcast to stay up to date on upcoming episodes.
And feel free to join our Discord community where you can share your thoughts on the movies we're watching together. That's going to be at WNOM Podcast server with a link in the bio.
Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. That's the best way to support the show and to let us know that you need one more.
We'll see you next week. This podcast is produced by Pilot 9 and 9 Ball Creative.